morning and welcome to your Daily Game Face. I am Dr. Kim Lannon. I am here on post-marathon Wednesday.
Yeah.
Late.
It's all right.
I'm late today because I'm moving slow. I'm actually not moving as slow as some people I know. I mean, I know some people that are actually crawling up and down stairs, but I actually strength train to not have that problem. My quads, though, are...
Okay.
But
I expected more because of your text.
Oh, well, I'm just moving slow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that. But because I strength
but you're upbeat, you're fine.
I am. No,
Yeah.
So today's show is going to be about me using... Remember how it was the year of you and me last year?
Right.
And then we went in and started rising?
Right.
Well, I had to do all of that on Monday. So here's the thing. I'm going to use this personal experience, which, I'm sure people will hopefully benefit from.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, by the way, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm so excited to be here.
I know.
I really am.
I'm kind of surprised.
No, but I'm so excited for so many reasons. It's been a really good few days. However, okay, wonderful weekend. Like great, end training. Because I do training runs right up to the end, even though people taper back. I don't because it's my lifestyle and how I do things and sitting and the way I train.
All forward.
It's all different than what everybody else says. But anyway, so I did my little thing and I was up in the mountains doing my training stuff and relaxing and having my last massage and etc. And so Sunday night comes, all great, go to bed, have great sleep, the whole thing, minus the fact that I've got cat issues, but that's a whole other thing. Yeah.
Kind of redundant, isn't it? Cat issues.
Okay, listen.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk today about rise right away, right? Mm-hmm. Resetting your mindset, integrating it, needing to stand up, stand out really quickly and evolve and elevate fast. Because I woke up on Monday morning. It was not in a good mindset.
How come?
I don't know.
You slept well. Everything was good. You had a good night before, except for the cats.
I actually had, it was like, yeah. And this is the story of what happens to people in real life. Mm-hmm. And I am not the only one that has this happen. In all the 12 years of running the marathon, never had this happen. I was, for lack of better terminology, I was a hot mess mentally. I don't know what came over me.
Just woke up that way?
I woke up and it was like, I'm not a crier, a tearful person, and I was in tears in the shower.
Wow.
And I have no problem telling you that because this is important to the whole rise concept, right? Because I used it and I utilized my resources. But here, I'm going to tell a story because it's important because people always say like, oh, this doesn't happen to you or that, right? But it does. And this is important because I use what I preach and practice and preach.
And as we always say, it's not linear.
It's not linear. So here I am coming into it. And, I was literally, even one of my friends, Rosie, who I don't know if she's listening today, she was like on Saturday said to me, she goes, you seem different this year. And I was like, I don't know. I think I had more of like, she said I had apathy.
Really?
Yeah. She's like, you have apathy. I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah. She's like, I was even telling my fiance that, gee, Kim seems just like off. And I don't, so really? I don't know. Yeah. So, but it was, everything was, I was like in the zone, but Monday morning woke up and I was texting all my resources, like not doing well. Things are falling off the bus. Don't know what I'm doing. Don't know if I should go to the start line. What am I literally like
really
for no, yep.
And no trigger.
No, no.
Yep.
Well, there may have been one, but I'm not going to talk about it on there.
Yeah.
But it had nothing to do with like anything like home or anything.
Yeah.
But it was just like it may have been like in the dark side of the recesses of my soul. But
okay.
it actually has to do with social media, but that's, it was a social media issue the day before.
That's fine.
But that's,
I get it.
So I said, so there you go. Right. Yeah. But it was a personal social media thing. So, but that's the only trigger I can think of that everyone else was also saying, like, don't let that get in the way. So, and I was insistent that was not what it was. Right. But at the end of the day, it probably was. And I'm using that as to tell you that when something gets in your head, and it wasn't even about the marathon. It wasn't anything specific. It was just
No, it doesn't have to be.
it was so it was, so the trigger was, there wasn't an actual trigger, but the trigger became evident to me as I reset my mind and got my shit together, essentially, and was like, "Are you kidding me? What are you gonna like let this get you?" When you have something super negative and toxic that has a back meaning and a backhand meaning to it, and you know it, but no one else knows it,
right?
and I'm sure the person out there is listening that did it. Thank you, actually, because you actually motivated me. And it doesn't usually work on people to motivate them when you're that toxic, but this one did.
Yeah.
But initially it demotivated me. And I think it's important to share with people that
how you turn it into something positive.
Couldn't put it into motion in the first part of it because people kept saying, like, of course, me at 5:30, 6:30, and 7:30 in the morning, I'm texting people, going like, I'm calling people all over the country, like, I'm falling off the bus, the wheels are coming off, and everyone's like, "Do you think it was because of this? Do you think in this particular thing?" I'm like, nope. And I was like, ugh. And then I was like, oh, it's giving it power. I'm giving this power.
Yeah.
So of course I got to Boston to get to the team bus. I couldn't get to my team bus. I was 0.3 of a mile away from that. And I was sitting in the car, apathetic, just like, oh, well, I guess we'll just get on the Mass Pike and drive out to Hopkinton, and I'll just get dropped off, which means that I'll have to sit less on the floor in the gym of the Hopkinton gym at the high school, which makes it even easier. Then I won't have to sit there as long. I mean, all the positives. I was like, this is good. I won't have to sit on the bus. I won't have to sit with people. I won't have to talk to anybody. It was great, and I had a nice, like, warm car. I had all my stuff with me. It was, fabulous. So, and as I was going through and doing all my calls and adversity, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, what am I going to do to, like, be able to get to this line and think, how am I going to finish? How am I even going to start? I mean, literally it was in my head. Like, how am I even going to get to the start? And I've never, ever, ever had that. And then I got out there and I sat in the Dunkin' Donuts parking lot, and I watched all these people coming in and out, going, because you have to get dropped off at a bus, from a bus or from a car, to get on another bus to get to the athletes' village. It's a very big process. It takes a long time to get through, just to get there.
Right.
And I just had a flip in a switch of, like, my mindset was like, are you kidding me? You just did all of this work of raising $20,000+ for your charity. You just did all of these events. You've been helping other people. You've been training people. You've been running yourself. You've had a broken toe, which also was in the way because I had that in my head, of course, and it hasn't been bothering me at all. So it wasn't like an issue, and it didn't bother me. Yay. Because it was a wonderful run, by the way. This is going to end epically wonderfully. And then I had all these beautiful messages coming from my resources, I'm going to say my women resources, uplifting me with amazing things that they either made up and put lyrics to from other songs, and like we're doing, like, it was just great, and like reaching out, and I just got there, and I got out of the car to walk to the bus to transfer over, and it's like it switched. It literally, from the very switch that went from like fine to terrible, it went right back to me, who I am, of like, I am not going to let this happen. And
you found your game face.
I found my game face, and I put it on, and I was like, there is no reason for me to be in this space. There's no rational, reasonable, or realistic anything. I will take that power away from that thing that happened on social media. And I do stress that it was literally nothing to do with the race, but sort of had a back-ended thing that ended up about that. But there's a lot of negativity that comes around people, as you know. And I usually don't get a lot of that, but I did take it from that thing. And then anyway, when I switched over, I got into the gym, and the gym is huge. So there's all the charity teamers get to go into the gym with their teams. And so you get we don't have to sit out in the mud, which is very nice.
Yeah.
It's a nice perk. And and we get our own bathrooms. And I just got into my own space, and I did my own meditation, and I did my own like walkthrough of everything that I've done for like the training and how I was going to do every mile. I literally just went through my whole visualization, and I was there I only had to be in the gym this time. Instead of sitting there for 5 hours, I only had to sit there for 2. And that made a big difference.
Yep.
And then it was a beautiful weather day. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better weather day. And I think most people that ran the race have said that to me, that I know, that was just perfect. It was a little chilly, but it was perfect. And then it warmed up, sunny, had a teeny little sprinkle of rain through Framingham and Natick, like so minor.
Right.
Had a tailwind for once, not a huge tailwind, but it did have a tailwind. And it was the best race I've ever had in terms of the feeling. I went from feeling like on the bottom of the sole of a shoe to the most amazing marathon experience feeling I've ever had, ever. And it's not anything to do with time. It's about everything just locked in and clicked, and it was exciting and amazing, and the crowds were epic, and there were people I knew everywhere, and it was just so good. And I can't thank all the people that came out to support, like, and people that saw me and were yelling my name and doing all the things. And then it was really exciting. And my friend Joanna, she and I met at we were at the finish line when the marathon bomb went off. And she and I've known each other. We met that year. So she works the finish line, and she always, she's been there almost every year. She's missed a couple, but she's been there almost every year. And so she watches for me to come in. The trackers are always off. People think it's live tracking.
Right.
It is live tracking, but it's live tracking once there's like 9 mats that you have to cross over. So every time you cross over a mat, it clicks up and links to the GPS and says, here's the estimated time of when the person's going to be at the next blah, 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 or their projected finish time. So everybody was, so John and Abby were following me, but I was always ahead of them because the tracker was always behind. So they were leapfrogging, and I was already past them. And they finally found me at the top of Heartbreak Hill, and they're like, "You're so far ahead of where we thought you were." And it was great. And they were running with me, and John was laughing like, "I can't keep up with you." I mean, it was like I was so locked in, Lou. It was the most amazing rise moment. And I was so excited because I was thinking as I was running that last mile, and I saw the Sitco sign, which is your mile and a half marker out of like you're coming into the city. And I was like, I kept just being like, rise to the moment, rise to the moment, rise to the moment. I'm getting emotional now thinking about it because it was, I had so many people that I had been running with the whole way. There were tons of us in that pack coming in. The crowds this year, everything was epic. It was, I mean, there always is amazing crowdage, not a word, but mine. But the right onto Hereford and the left onto Boylston this year was, I want to say 8 people deep on both sides. And the scream, I could hear the screaming 2 miles out, like before I got to the Sitco sign. And usually, I mean, that kind of gets a little sparse in there until you get down into Fenway. It was packed with people, and it was the energy was electric, and people were excited. And I got to run with this. There was this guy that was dressed in a outfit to beat the band that had feathers that kept hitting me in the face because they were so long coming out of his headdress. He had a headdress on.
Okay.
Yep. And then the guy from Love Island, Mike Alessi or whatever, he was out running, and I was with him for a while. He took his shirt off, and we were going through the scream tunnel, and all the women were screaming for him. And apparently that was a great thing. I think he was from Love Island. I don't know. That was all. I was like, who is this guy? And people around me were saying, oh, he's from Love Island, whatever. Because there was a lot of celebrities like running. But anyway, so I could hear as I was coming down Boylston. So exciting. I can't remember ever hearing this before, but everyone always says, yes, they always say your name, but I've never heard it be announced before. So, so about, coming in, I could hear them announce. And it was just the stands were full, and it was just, I mean, the timing was great. And my friend Joanna was waiting at the end, and she was standing like right where, like right at the mat. So I came over and she has this picture of me like jumping on her. And it was great. I mean, from the moment I took off from the actual start line to the moment I crossed, it never crossed my mind from anything that happened in the morning. And I don't have any other explanation of how to fix that other than literally use the technique that I've been teaching this whole time. Is literally you reset your mindset, you shift it really quickly, you integrate it. I stood it up. I made sure I would stand it out for myself. And then I just elevated it and just kept going. I never had a negative thought, it's the first time ever. It was the best marathon I've ever had, regardless of time. Because people are like, I'm finished. Because it was just epically wonderful. The day was perfect. The people were perfect. The stories out there. I saw stuff happening. This is what I love. If you ever want to have faith in humanity, go to a marathon.
Really?
Because if you lose faith in humanity and you lose faith in stuff that's going on in the world, go to a big marathon like the Boston Marathon or Chicago or New York, because you see what people do for each other. And really when it comes down to helping out somebody else. There was a woman in front of me for a while, and I didn't even know that people were, people will trail you and then they'll like pace with you and vice versa. Like I had people in front of me, I was pacing so that I would keep track. But you hear their stories or you hear stuff because on their bibs, it will say like for dad, and they're running for like the Alzheimer's Foundation, they're Dana-Farber or whatever. And at one point there was a woman in front of me that had been, we were about a mile, we were probably a mile out, and she started to walk. And I was like, come on, girl, let's go. Let's do it. Because it said, I'm doing this for my dad. And I'm like, come on, your dad's with you. Because she was crying. And I was like, let's go. And she ran in with me. And she was like, thank you so like just that alone. But then you can see all these beautiful reels on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and all over the social media now. Epically beautiful. And I keep using epic because they are wonderful stories of humanity, of people being kind and compassionate and helpful and elevating each other and uplifting each other and not being negative and not being toxic and not being a naysayer and not being on top of someone being like, you can't do it, or, you're not this or you're not that or whatever. Like a celebration of accomplishment every step of the way. And I've been progressively writing like thank you notes to all of my donors this year, because I had a lot of donors this year help me get to where I got. And I just kept having the theme all over the past couple of weeks as I'm writing them. So if you haven't gotten one yet, don't worry, it's coming. It's just in piles. But just about the fact that you're with me every step of the way. And I think that that's such an important piece of life, is that if you've got resources, I'm calling those my resources, right? You've got resources of people who love you or who are compassionate and give to you and really care about you. Or even if you only have a couple, just having those people in your life to know that they're with you and they're behind you and they help you rise. And if you don't have those people and you have to draw from yourself, you can do it.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't have those people, I most likely would have done it, because I've been in situations like this before. This is not my first rodeo of having like, this is a terrible feeling. But it went from 0 to 100% game on. And people were saying to me at the end, they were like, we saw you out there. You were so locked in. It was just a totally different marathon for me. So I'm all excited. Number 12 under my belt, number 17 altogether of marathons.
12 in a row, right?
Not in a row.
Oh.
Well, 12 in a row for Boston.
Yeah.
But I've done 17.
Okay.
So exciting.
Yeah.
Over my lifetime, I've done 17. So I'm excited for next year already. People were asking me, somebody asked me at the end, I don't know, there were reporters all around. They're like, would you do it again? Yeah, I'll be back next year. Absolutely.
I'm training next week.
Yes, I'm starting to train already. And then yesterday I had a wonderful experience. I got to, I was invited by the New England Patriots as I run for them. And we are still raising money. If people want to actually still contribute to the 30th of April, please go to my link, $5, $25, $30. Or if you don't want to, that's fine. You could save it for next year and double up on next year.
Yeah.
That would be fine too. But any little bit counts because it's wonderful. But the New England Patriots actually asked me, and a couple of the runners that were on my team, we did a social media commercial yesterday for Mass General Brigham Sports and Sports Medicine and Research Center for all the training facilities and everything. So yesterday, instead of doing my traditional lobster roll and going to the beach for a shakeout run, I got to go and sit in a cryo chamber. I got to float in big salt bath, and I got to sit in a red bed, the red light bed, and shoot a commercial yesterday. So I have gone from feeling at the bottom of the barrel to like, woo!
But that's kind of the rise. That's the key fundamental of the rise thing, isn't it? Is that we spend so much time fighting reality of the external stuff that we can't control, when we need to understand that we have total control over the situation with our own mindset, and how we react to it. And
that is all of that is exactly what I did on Monday morning when I did the flip of the switch. And I knew I had to. I kept saying, I have to flip that switch.
Nothing changed from the trigger.
Nope.
It was about your relationship to it.
Exactly. It was, and that's the wording. It's such a good wording. It's the relationship, the association, the importance and the empowerment I was giving or not giving to somebody's words, somebody's thoughts or not thoughts, or inconsiderations, and getting caught up in someone not uplifting, and being able to put that aside, saying I'm not you, you are not me, and we are not one. And that is a big lesson. And I know that lesson so epically again, but sometimes it comes up and really bites you.
But for a while there, you can't change the trigger.
Nope.
But the trigger was changing you. The trigger had control over you, and you can't allow that to happen.
Right. And the trigger, and the thing was I was trying to deny that the trigger was.
Yeah, of course.
I was trying to deny it, and I knew it. It was like this, the cognitive dissonance in my head of like the fight of, no, it's not, because I didn't want it to be that, and I didn't want people to think it was that, but everyone was like, it's that. And I'm like, no, it's not. It is not, and it will not be that. And I'm like, oh God.
We waste so much time fighting reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But the reality
accept reality and change your reaction to it.
Yeah, and it ended up making my day spectacular. I mean, it was literally, I was so beaming. I'm always beaming in marathons. Everyone always says, you're always smiling. But this one was extra. Like, I could feel it coming from my heart. I could feel it coming from like the bottom of my feet to the top of my head, and I just felt it. And you can see it in my pictures. Like, I felt it. What a difference that from the morning to the start line to the finish line.
In a way, the trigger kind of focused you.
Yes.
And you were changing the focus to something positive. So it kind of drained you of all the other noise.
Yes. Well, it took.
So when you dealt with that,
yes, it took
all
the
the noise
chatter.
was gone. Yeah,
it's exactly. All that back chatter that I talked about every week coming into it.
Yeah.
So I'm living proof that my technique works. So there we go, an endorsement from myself.
So you need to get a trigger every year.
No, I do not. I do not need that. No, I do not want that again. So, I will pass on having another trigger. Mm-hmm. But anyway, it was great. But I can't thank people enough for all the help and the support and the kind words and the encouragement without even knowing that. And not
especially a women's group at the beginning who picked you up.
Yep. Yeah. And especially my little crew that said, let's go. And people were left and right that didn't even know that was going on, were also texting me other things. So that also helped.
Yeah.
And also the other thing that was really helpful is I told people I was putting my phone into airplane mode, because it stopped texts from coming in, and also interrupting my music.
Yeah.
And I have not done that before.
Oh.
And so that worked beautifully because it kept the back chatter out.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was great, because when I turned my phone back on, I had 72 texts. I very much appreciate that people like to inform me where I am on the course in text. Did you know that you just crossed? I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I had it on airplane mode.
Yeah.
Yes.
What a statement on today, not to knock anybody, but what a statement on today's society that people would text you during a marathon.
It's
like you're not doing anything.
I know. It's okay. It's totally, it's totally fine. It is fine. Because people, I think also people don't know that most people don't know I'm carrying my phone. And I don't think most people know that we almost all carry our phones, except if you're an elite runner, because you don't need to, because you're there in 2 hours.
Really?
The rest of us are not.
Was it 201 or 202?
Well, 201.40 something was the man, and 218 was the woman this year. Yes. And then the American woman, I think, was 220, I think second or third. I don't know. They were really close. So the men and women elite runners were done before any of us left Hopkinton. We hadn't even left the start line yet before they were done. They were done. Yeah.
That's pretty close to I know, easy math, but it's pretty damn close to a 13-mile-an-hour pace.
Who?
201.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's inhuman.
They were doing, I think he was doing, I can't remember because I've heard different things. It was like 458s. There was at one point he was doing like 420s, 440s. Like, yeah. He flew by, like going up, the 4 hills in Heartbreak Hill.
It's insane.
Because they're progressively rolling harder and harder as you go up. And that's why it's a heartbreak when you get to the last one, because it's heartbreaking. He was like 4 and change. And I'm just like, okay.
Wow.
I think I did an average of 12-minute miles up those hills.
Yeah, well.
That was about my speed, but that's okay. You know why? Because it still got me where? To the finish line. Yeah. And that's all that mattered.
It's one of my favorite parts of the event is that you have elite athletes and neighborhood warriors in the same event.
Yes.
I love it.
So here, this is not a trigger for me, but this is an entertaining non-trigger for me, is that I literally am so entertained by the fact of watching. This is where the humanity of the runners lacks, is that when people start giving a hard time to what the charity teamers, we're called the charity teamers, right? Yeah. We're all called the overqualified. We're the ones that train, raise all the money, and have full-time jobs and do all the things. Well, someone who's qualified by running a race under a certain time limit at their age bracket, right, has been able to do that. And then that's what they do. They get to train and then whatever. So Susan Hurley, who passed away this year, she was the founder of Charity Teams, and she and I were buds. We ran, for the Patriots, and she ran the whole Charity Teams program, and her son took it over this year, Max and Ryan. They're amazing. But her whole thing was, you are the overqualified. You're the ones that raise the money. You're the ones that also train. You're the ones that do all the things and have lives outside of that. And that's what you do. You're not out there to. So, but the thing that you watch now on social media that is of entertainment for me is that the infighting that happens about who deserves to be out on that course.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. And the negativity, that negativity doesn't get in my head, because I know my spot. I know I've earned my seat at the table, so to speak, for all the things I do. And everybody who either qualifies or qualifies by doing it through charity teams, or people do qualify and also do charity teams. Mm-hmm. So there's, there were 33 some odd thousand or 34,000 of us this year running. And I think a vast majority of the back, because we're called the back of the Packers because they put us in the last wave to go out, because everybody that qualifies gets to go first. But the people that qualify and do raising of money, they're all mixed in there as well. So people don't realize that, just because you can run a 240 marathon doesn't take away from, it's still 26.2 miles. And if it takes you, the woman that came in at 8:30 that evening, she still ran 26.2 miles, and she's no less of a racer than did 201. And her story is just as amazing as the 201. And I think that is
better story than the 201.
And there's that's the excitement of the humanity of the rise, is that if you are out there and you ever want to see humanity and rising, the stories of the people, I call it the stories of the people on the hill, are amazing, because that's where you see people in tears. That's where you see people like not feeling like it's only 5 miles left.
Think about it. If it were 100 professional runners running this marathon, no one would be there. Right. No one would care. Right. It's not what it's about. That's not the soul of the marathon.
And I think people forget that. And I think even the people who qualify, and so,
So your kid's teacher is running it,
yeah,
firefighter is running it.
Right. Or you get you get the tough ruckers, the guys that go out with like the big 50-pound packs on their back and they run it.
God, yeah.
Right. And they're doing it for charity.
Oh, the woman who takes 8 hours.
Right. Or the woman
that's what it's about.
Exactly. And to take it away from anybody that's out there. There were pregnant women. There were people with
Lord.
There were pregnant women. There were people with one blade, two bladed legs. There were people doing it with a crutch on, with a boot in a crutch. I mean, I saw a lot this year. And I saw, well, at the end, I saw someone crawling over the line. And then, of course, in videos, I saw lots of interesting things. A police officer helping someone get up and help cross the line. Like, it's just amazing because those are the stories. And there's so many stories about how people get there and how important it is. And people are like, it's just a marathon. It's not just a marathon. The Boston Marathon has so much meaning behind it for people because it's not like going out and running any marathon. It's the most famous marathon other than the one in Greece, really, truly. Right. It's 130 years this year of running it, which I've run the last 12 of. And it has so much historical meaning in terms of its growth in people who run it and who comes through on it and who does things for it and all those. But at the end of the day, it has a huge impact on the community and who it brings together, brings the world together. Mm-hmm. There are runners from, I think there's 35 countries, or I think from all over the world in it. What?
I was just thinking there was a lot.
You looked at me like, what?
No, there was a lot of talk on the Sox broadcast yesterday about the 13-year anniversary of the bombing.
Yes.
And how it has turned that event, which was tragic and still is tragic and is part of our past, but it's turned it into strength of the city. It's a plus. It's something we celebrate. Not that we celebrate all the death and injury, just we celebrate the resiliency of the town.
Exactly.
As a result of it, and it's become even more part of the thread of Boston.
And I think. And that's such a good point because I wanted to say it in my original story is when you do the right on Hereford and the left on Boylston. Now, because I was at the bombing and I had talked about this before, that left on Boylston, it never fails. I can walk up and down that street 500 times. But when you turn left on Boylston on Marathon Monday and the crowds are screaming and you've had that experience of being at the bombing, it's not that the snipers that you can see on the rooftops, which I did see. It's not that. It's this amazing feeling that I cannot describe, other than it's like elation. It envelops you from all the people who want good for you, who want you to do well, who are there. Literally cheering you on. If you're walking, you're crawling, you're flying, you're doing whatever. They're just there to be like, go. And I never fail to not cry on that road. I think everybody cries. Everyone's always crying when they turn that corner and everyone cries because it's epic.
The energy at the finish line must be spectacular.
It's so well, because most finish lines, I know a lot of people probably listening are like, who cares about this? But this is an amazing thing to experience. If you can ever have an experience in life, I mean, there are other things that you can experience in life like this, but the finish line has this big bridge that goes across from one side of Boylston to the other. And it has all the waves all up in lights, and it has all the names, and there's tickers, and there's all this fanfare going on with all the, WCVB and Channel 5, all the stuff going on. And then they have the announcers going and people in the stand. Like, it's just, you don't have that. And I've run Chicago, Marine Corps. I've run Disney. Like, it's not the same. It's wonderful. They're all wonderful. Those are great marathons, and they're lined. The cities are lined, and it's fun. Not like Boston. Boston's totally different.
Yeah.
And so it's my heart. And I'm going on to number 13. Next year, I'm raising bajillion dollars for my charities because I want to, and I love my charities. So, but it was good. And so, but wow, I was so excited to talk about having a rise moment because I certainly did have a rise moment. And John, I love it. He says, you had a game face in your DNA on Monday, focused, dialed in. Yeah. And he told me that. He's like, I have never seen you flip and dial in like that, like at all. He's like, you were just
well, you had a negative focus and turned it into a positive focus.
Yes. And it was funny because Abby, and she's working right now, but she's so cute. She's, she's going to run with me, she says. She's going to run with me in 2028. We'll see.
Okay.
But we're going to see. Because she gets so inspired every year. She says it every year when she's out there, because she comes out every year to watch me with, she hops with John and gives me, she's my mint giver. She's my Advil giver. She's my magnesium. She's always got the stuff, tape, everything. Nice. But she was running. She actually apparently said, this is the first year I haven't heard Auntie complain. Because there's usually like my foot hurts, my toe hurts, my knee, somebody get me tape. Nope, nothing this year. The only thing I asked for this year was 4 Advil and mints. Cheers to me, because it was so good. So Stacia, I just saw some. Yes, such a super day. The runners, the weather, amazing crowds, and a wonderful collection of humanity from start to finish. Thank you for congratulating me. Stacia's always an awesome supporter, and thank you so much and helping that. And Kate, thank you. Happy Wednesday, superstar. Thank you, Kate. And Deb, I've known Deb forever. Thank you for being proud of me and supporting the rise. And you go and rise, girl. You too. Reset that mindset every day. Integrate it. Stand up, stand out, and elevate and evolve, because it is important. And man, it worked for me this past Monday. So I just wanted to just share that whole story. I was going to do like something else, and I was like, no, this is a nice example,
practical example of actually putting this to use.
Yes. And it's really good. And interestingly enough, out in the world, whether it's epic, there's that word again, epically, or I should say, not even epically, ironic that the trigger that was my trigger, it was weird. It came back around in a positive way at the end, and there was no interaction, but it did have I'm never going to say what it was or what it is, because it's mine, and in my little group, but it came back around, interestingly enough, in a really positive way at the end. I'm going to look at it that way, but I had a win. I stacked a win.
Yeah, there you go.
And it was whether that person knows it's a win, not my problem, but I know it was a win. So it was very good in the end. But man, it could have taken me down.
The power of putting out good energy, huh?
Mm-hmm. And it was exciting because I got to be able to when we were filming that social media content yesterday for Mass General Brigham and doing the New England Patriots, it was, they were like, what was your favorite, because in the interview they were like, what was your favorite part of the marathon? And I was like, well, it started off a little rough, and I didn't go through the whole story. I just said it started off a little rough in the morning, but man, it was so awesome. I think the favorite part was just crossing the finish line and being able to jump into the arms of my friend who waits there for me. Literally, I think that was my favorite part, just being able to know she was going to be there and be excited and whatever. Meanwhile, on a funny note, Abby was walking around typically, as usual, lost down around somewhere within the finish line area, but couldn't find the finish line because she was stuck on the other side. And so I think there were tears. And of course, my phone was off and she was calling me, and so was everyone else, but I couldn't answer. Yay! Yeah. Right? and then John missed the finish again. You know why? Because he couldn't find a parking spot.
Oh yeah, well.
Because they weren't anticipating that I had been so focused and locked in that I was ahead of them. So I came across the finish line before they got there.
Parking must be brutal.
So they had hopscotched the whole way, or leapfrogged the whole way, and I kept being in front of them, and they never. But we had a fabulous dinner at our favorite place, and thank you to the Atlantic Fish Company for always getting us in and having a wonderful dinner there.
Is there a parking premium on Marathon Monday?
How would I know that?
How did John know that?
Lou, I do not park on Marathon Monday. I run from Hopkinton to Boston.
Get it.
I don't know. I would imagine that.
But if a guy pays a premium for parking, you usually hear about it.
I have no idea, because he doesn't end up parking until, like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea how much he paid. Probably $900. I don't know. I think you get them for like $40. I don't know.
Yeah.
The proof, $42, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you get there before 6:30 in the morning, though, I think it's like 30. But
50. John says 50.
Oh, John says 50. All right, there we go. It's $50. There we go. Kate's saying hi. And he's saying it again, 50. Got it, John. We know it's 50. And I have to say, John had to rise as well, because I had to hear, and I've had to hear about it. He had to drive a lot. He had to drive a lot on Monday.
In Boston on Marathon Monday?
Well, Hopkinton out, because he had to drive to Hopkinton because I missed the bus. Then he had to drive back home. He had to grab Abby. Then he drove back, and then he started hopscotching. And then I didn't. It wasn't because I was late. It was because the traffic was so bad, and I was literally 0.3 of a mile from the bus, and it was all cordoned off, and I couldn't get into the bus.
John paid 50 and had a 2-mile walk.
Yes, he did. He did, and then he couldn't find us to get out. We were waiting outside of the restaurant for like 25 minutes to go home.
First, yeah.
What did he say?
Boston first.
Yeah, Boston first. Yay!
I paid 90 at a Red Sox game once.
Oh, he says, get it straight.
Yeah.
Boston first. Yes, I did. I said we went to Boston first.
Yeah.
See, got to be technical. So anyway, yeah, exciting. And that's my story for the day. That was my show for the day. Is just like, hey, I'm a walking, talking rise moment of this week for sure. And it was exciting. I had the best race ever. It was so good. I have no body complaints. I mean, I'm a little sore, but
you don't look like a day plus past the marathon.
Yeah, but I could have kept running. Well, my feet were burning, but I could have kept running.
Yeah,
I was very happy. I'm usually very happy at the end, because the end. But I am excited to go on to next year, and I'm excited for other things on the in-betweens. And I can't even read what he just wrote, but
Boston, Hopkinton, and back, and then she killed it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He keeps saying to me too. He keeps saying, he's like, I can't believe what you did on Monday. Well, because he saw what I was like on Monday morning.
He saw the whole transition.
He saw the whole thing, and he was like floored. When he finally saw me, he just looked at me like, oh my God.
But that's a takeaway for everybody. Again, taking control of the situation, the emotional, instead of fighting reality.
Right.
We're back to radical acceptance.
Right. Well, right. And having no control over the thing that was
right. Exactly.
I had no control over that, and being able to let it go.
So you had a choice of burning to it, or turning it into, turning your reaction into something that was going to help you.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And it did.
It paid off handsomely.
It did. Yeah. And I got it. And I had an extra stack win from the actual trigger itself. So, yeah. And they don't even know it.
But that's possible. It's possible every day. It's possible with every situation.
It's so amazing.
Too many people spend too much time fighting reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Every day. It's a grind.
Instead, concentrate on your reaction to what the reality is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so, and respond, not react. And so that was what switched for me, is I stopped reacting and got responsive to my moment and stayed in the moment. And that was because I was losing the moment. That was what was happening.
You had to get out of denial too. That was a key.
Yes.
Key huge turning point in that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't want it to be what it was, but it was. Yes, exactly. So on that note,
again, fighting reality.
Right.
Right.
Yes, exactly. And we all do it. That's why
we all do it.
And that's why clients will say to me, it's almost like a fourth wall when you do therapy with people and you work with people in like this field, because they don't see you as a person. A lot of times they don't see, like, they see you in the grocery store, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, you're outside the office. It's kind of like that kindergarten thing, like kid, like, oh, you're the teacher leaves the room, it's that same thing. But it's,
one therapist, she was so funny. She used to tell me all the time, you do not have to acknowledge me when you see me out. I said, I don't care.
But a lot of people do. So we don't acknowledge people out unless they acknowledge us. But the thing is that we do go out, and doing this for 31 years, right? And I'm in a community that everybody from every town is like, probably has heard of me, because that's what happens when you're a person that's in like 5 communities. But people bump into me all the time. And it's just, most people are just like, hey, a lot of people announce like, this is my doctor. But a lot of people do not want that, but it's just that thing of, people are just people, and that's okay. But it's the point of the fact that I'm out there and I'm human, and people forget that everybody's human, and that doesn't mean I'm going to join you in your stuff, but it means that like I can have my stuff too.
Right.
And I'm allowed to, and I'm allowed to also share with you that it works when you do, like, this is my technique. I came up with this, like being able to do it this way, and this works, and I see it work on other people, and I used it. But it's
and
all
don't
the
be
things.
Discouraged when it doesn't, because again, it's
Right.
not linear.
Right. Well, it's not perfect.
Every day is not good.
It could have been, again, epic. Here it comes. It could have been an epic fail on Monday for me. If I had let it take me, and that's where I was feeling it. I was like, oh, this is going to be bad. But nope. Yeah. I was like, there's no way I'm letting this. But I think it came from that acceptance piece of, I shouldn't deny that this is where it's really coming from. And,
right.
And I listened to my little posse of gals, and they were all like, girl, let's get it going, essentially. So it was good. Women uplifting women, or people uplifting people.
Well, you can't respond until you're aware.
Exactly. Well, right. I was aware. I just didn't like it.
Again, you were in denial. So
yes,
you
was.
You couldn't respond to it because you weren't giving it its
I wasn't
power.
giving it the right space.
Right.
Exactly. So, John's still talking about, he's talking about his
day.
His day. This is what I'm saying. This is what I listened to. I ran all this way and he drove.
Oh, come on.
I know. He drove
marathon Monday driving in Boston.
Well,
not a good time.
It was just, it's also because he was driving. It wasn't just Boston. He was leaping. Yeah. And so, which is what a lot of people do. I told him, I said, I appreciate you, but you're not the only person that leaps, because people leap, from Framingham. Usually people start in Framingham, then they chop to Natick, then they go to Wellesley, and then, so yeah. So he hopped just like a lot of people did. I saw multiple sets of my people at multiple places. So
nice.
It was good. It was really good. So if anybody wants to have a real-time experience of learning how to do this technique, and you're a woman this time around for this one.
Really?
Well, you have to be a woman on this one.
Okay.
I'm hosting a women's retreat weekend in May right now, unless I don't get more people to sign up. But I do have a couple people right now already signed up for it. I'm going to, because we're getting closer to it and I wasn't able to put enough time into like marketing it, I'm going to probably reduce, I know people are listening, I'm going to reduce the rate. So if you got my original rate that I sent you, I'm probably going to reduce the rate just because I want women to come and have the experience of this for the first time. But it's a women's retreat weekend near the lake up in Ashland, New Hampshire at the Inn on Golden Pond. And it's May 15th through 17th. And it's a weekend of relaxation, and it's rest, restore, and rise. And it's basically being able to really work this work, but through hiking and nature therapy, and not really therapy, but it's a retreat weekend. So right. It's a relaxing weekend. It's curated breakfasts that are in-house. It's a wonderful catered lunch, dinners wherever you want to be. So it's not included. But we have massage, we have Reiki, nice. We have hiking, we have, circles of sharing time, and just being able to learn how to do the rise and letting go of things and sharing stories. So if you are a woman and you would like to come and you're 18 plus and you would like to come and share in this experience, please direct message me or email me at kim.lannon@yahoo.com, and I will give you the current pricing on that for that wonderful weekend. It is not what I originally put out to some people to ask me, because I did drop it just for this first time, and I will be happy to get back to you. But I'd love to have you there and have a wonderful weekend, just so you can go through this process and learn how to do exactly what I just did on Monday for myself, and use my technique to do that. So on that note, I'm going to say, see you next week, and be well, everybody. And thank you all for your support.